Hi, welcome to the report for Play Expo, just this weekend. Gotta say, it's been a much better, well, it's a good year last year, but this year was a lot better. Well, yeah, okay, fair enough. It was a lot better because it was massive. I mean, absolutely massive. They really did fill out a lot of the space in Event City, to the point where when me and my girlfriend went on the Saturday, we kind of lost each other. Yeah, we lost each other, and I've got to be honest, the reception there is shit. You really cannot text each other or anything, it's not great. So that's one minor complaint I have about it. The other I have is about the food, and speaking as a veggie, well no, a pescatarian really, but speaking as a veggie, any event you go to is pretty shit for food. It was alright, I mean, not shit as in food tasting shit, but shit as in options. It's always going to be that cheese and onion tart, like the one option. And it's like, yeah. For example, I went to a works dinner, and they were like, oh, slam up on trimmings and all this sort of stuff. What did we get? Cheese and onion tart. It's like the only thing they can think of. And in fact, me and workmate were having a big rant about this afternoon. I mean, it doesn't take that much to think about some extra things to put in a menu. It's not that difficult. Like, here's an idea that I've never seen. Vegetable ratatouille. There you go, done. You know, something completely different that's not pasta or lasagna or the cheese and onion tart that gets rolled out every year just as much as bloody fucking Cliff Richard at Christmas. You know, it's like, yeah, I'm sorry, I shouldn't be ranting about it. It's a rant that most meat eaters probably won't give a shit about the stuff. I'm sorry, it's something that just bugs me. Anyway, so, gaming, this is what we're talking about. Yes, first of all, I do want to mention that I did see a few people there. I saw Necroscope 86, who's a lot taller than he looks on a video. I saw Paul from Retro Asylum, and every time I saw him, he was speaking to someone, and I was like, I don't really want to be, you know, pestering you right now, because I know that them guys do stuff, because it's, you know, for the podcasting stuff, and it's great, because it's, every Friday, well no, it's every 2 Fridays now. But they do a great job on Retro Asylum. Speaking of Retro Asylum, I did see Andy Godoy, who was actually interviewing the guy that did the beads, ABC Beads, he was interviewing. So I didn't really want to pester him, and I'm trying to, on a Saturday, I was trying to get round to everyone, so, as in, the other bits. Who else did I see? Oh, on a Sunday I walks in, and this guy walks past me and he's got these gold rimmed 70s glasses, and the guy looks fucked. I mean, we're talking, he looks like he's had a 4-week bender, cramped into yesterday night, and he was recovering from it this morning. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, I did just walk past. I was going to say Chris Barry, but it's not Chris Barry. No, Chris Barry never looks like he's been on a bender. There's only one person out of the Red Dwarf team that looks like he's been on a bender. Craig Charles, that's it. Yeah. So if you're listening to this, Craig Charles, I'm sorry, but you did look a bit rough. Yeah. I spoke to a mate of mine who I never expected to be there, who used to work with me years ago. And she was like, yeah, I saw him that morning, and I asked him if he, you know, is looking a bit rough, is he alright? He's like, yeah, I'm just having, I was on antibiotics, and you're just thinking, yeah, whatever. I mean, this is a guy that turned around to himself in the Red Dwarf scene, and was like, oh, that guy looks like he's been spending time on drugs. So we all fucking know it. I mean, Robin Williams was on coke, and the only way you'd know that is because he, you know, make jokes about sticking it on your teeth and stuff. And only people that have done it actually know that sort of stuff. So, yeah. Anyway, I didn't get to see. I saw the Retro Silent Crew, but I didn't really recognise them. I kind of know who Tom looks like now because of some of the pictures. So, but most of the time it was a case of I don't really go around jumping on people because, you know, like people like Chris, not Chris Barry. I keep wanting to say Chris Barry for some reason. It's Craig Charles and people. I just don't do that sort of thing. If they're going around looking at it, you know, hugging their mates and stuff like Necroscope does, it's like, you know, they want to come here, spend time. Jim Bagley was behind me from Ocean, and he had his kids with him, and it's like, you know, fair enough. But anyway, next thing. So, the first picture here is, well, the first couple of pictures is going to be me going through the traders, and I only took a couple of pictures, some interesting ones, like the one you see here now, which is the TI 99 for a tenner. Really should have picked that up since it was at a tenner. I mean, I took out 150 quid, and I spent 120 maybe. I mean, you're including food and stuff on this as well. And the food was like 7 quid a go, so yeah, there's a TI 99 for a tenner on one of the traders. Next one, which Jim, if you're listening to this, you can see Panzer Dragoon Saga, and yes, that does say 150 quid because that's what we're selling it for. Maxim, I've heard of Maxim. I can't remember why, but I think that's 50 quid or was it 80 quid? One of the, so that's pretty expensive. Speaking of which, next slide. There you go. A box copy of the Death and Return of Superman for 200 quid. And that was for the Mega Drive. And on the right hand side, you can actually see a modded Super Mario World on Mega Drive. This was another trader selling that. It's like, I love seeing stuff like this. I know it annoys me sometimes when some shops start charging ridiculous prices. Like, there was one place in Manchester that sold a box copy of Teenage Mutant Ninja Hero Turtles Hyperstone Heist, boxed for the Mega Drive for 90 quid. And it's like, no, I mean, I'd buy it if it was 50 quid. That's fair enough, I can understand that, but you can kind of see where they're marking it up. But something like the Death and Return of Superman, that is definitely a 200 quid. That's very rare. In fact, I think that's an import, really. So, you know, I can see that. But it just bugs me sometimes when people mark up and you know they're marking it up for that price. And it's like, well, you're kind of getting yourself out of cash here, really. Like, for example, I've got a box copy of Aliens to Comic Book Adventure, which, speaking of which, I will get round to finishing that off. I did try it on Twitch TV. You'll see, if you've been on my channel, you probably have seen the Halloween special. It wasn't recorded that great, because for some reason, XSplit doesn't really like the volume of the game and my voice. It's not very good. Although I think I've tested recently on a new one that Jim was playing around with, which was open broadcast software, and that seems to be a bit better. But the Aliens Comic Book Adventure that I got boxed, originally somebody was selling it on eBay for 200 quid, and I was like, fuck that shit. So I looked around, and I will try and go worldwide if I can, because there are some American sellers who, excuse me, who will actually deliver to the UK. One of them was selling the same game boxed for $30, and I'm like, fucking having money. So I got that. That's not the only time I got a game from America, though. I did when I was trying to find Fury 3, which was Terminal Velocity's game on the Windows machines. I did manage to get a box copy of that. Unfortunately, the box is a bit knackered now, but I still had the jewel case, so, you know, I think that cost me $20, something like that. And that was 7 years ago? 5 years ago? Something like that. But anyway, next slide. So, I'm gonna say now I'm not a big fan of pinball stuff. And the only time that I've recently started playing it is because of a guy called Pixel Ships, who does his website is called Pixel Ships, and his username is Pixel Ships, I think. I'll put a link in the description anyway. He does Ancient DOS games, and he recently did something on pinball. So I found myself playing it about a few months ago when I went to Fab Cafe because they've got an Indiana Jones machine, and it's fairly enjoyable. I mean, I do, on the Pandora handheld that I've got loads of games on it, and I have been doing quick games while I'm on the train, and I do find myself playing Dragon's Fury, but I love Dragon's Fury because out of all the pinball games, it is quite unique. But yeah, I'm still not a big fan of pinball games, but I did decide to have a go, and I have included this because I think people like him would like to see it, because he's not going to be able to get, he's not going to have the chance to get around to going to the UK. Well, I don't think he would, but you know, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people who are looking through these reports would like to see this sort of thing, and they did extend it a lot this year, so why not? But anyway, and if you hear a slamming from downstairs, it's just my girlfriend going in and out of the doors. It's just this microphone picks up quite a lot of stuff. Anyway, what we got? So yeah, this is the first section of this. I did play a couple of games, I'm just trying to remember which ones I played. And the next shot you can see is I decided to take a picture of someone actually going in and fixing some of these pinball machines, because they do need, you know, you got like lots and lots of people coming in through these doors and playing these games, so they're gonna need it. One thing you will notice is some of these shots are empty, and that's because I was taking pictures at 5:30 on a Sunday. And that was about half an hour before it shut, so a lot of people were going. But, you know, there's still some fairly decent shots here. And quite a lot of people still milling around. So this next section I quite liked because the style of pinball machines you can see. So you've seen the first set of pinball machines, rather the classic ones. And these have got that kind of olden style fairgroundy kind of look. So, yeah, you probably can get the gist I'm getting at when you're seeing this. And in fact, the one on the left was quite impressive, because I think that was one of the only other ones you could see, you can actually see part of the board on the left. You could see the full board, but you can actually see part of it. The full board was there. But, yeah. Yeah, that was nice to see. And then we get like Robocop and Star Wars ones that look fairly interesting. Oh, speaking of, yeah, one of the games I played was Twilight Zone. And one thing I still can't get my head around is I'm busy playing and looking at the field, the field that the ball is on. And you know how sometimes where you get the ball goes somewhere and disappears for a bit, and then you've got to look at the LCD screen to know what's going on. But I find it really hard because my brain's sitting there thinking, well, if I miss the ball, it's going to go in the gutter, and I can't really concentrate properly on that. I suppose that's one of the things I've got to learn if I'm going to play a lot more of these, is the timing of those two. But that's one of the things that just I can't at the moment get my head around. The whole, looking at the LCD and not. So next one we've got, people stood around. Yeah, the advertisement of the Nerg section. I'm trying to remember what the guy was selling. There's a table there, and I'm trying to remember what. I think it might have been ball parts or something. I know they're around the corner. There were ball parts being sold, pinball bits being sold. And then the next one, you've got Dracula, I was trying to get full range on this one. I'm sorry if I'm not being massively talkative about this. I mean, I'm just trying to think of things to say about this. But it's like I said, it's not an area I'm huge on. But like I said, I still want to show you what was there. I do remember seeing. I don't think I've got a shot of it on this, but I do remember when I was going and looking at all the different pinball machines they had. One on Demolition Man, which I certainly remember seeing around when that was out. And there was another one. There was a pinball machine with like guns on the top of it. I think that actually might have been the Demolition Man, because I think that was like an alternative to the flippers. Because they had buttons for the flippers, but they had the gun bits at the top and the sides for same use. You know what I mean? The flipper use, but it's damn it, trying to describe it. You know? I know there was one other one that I played that was fairly unusual. It's not on this shot, and I should have put it in. It was basically, you know how most pinball machines have got that kind of tapered feel to it. It's kind of slanted at an angle, tapered feel. Well, this one was not tapered at all. It was properly rectangular and quite chunky, and it like the early picture where the pinball machines had that kind of really olden style look to them, like the tin kind of looking feel to them. It was like that. It was kind of like a 70s board. It felt fairly oldish, but it was fairly fat, rectangular. I can't remember the damn name of the pinball machine though. And that was an interesting one. I think, unlike the others that I'd played, where it was like, you're only going to get 3 balls, this one kept going, and it was really weird, and I think it got about 5 or 7 balls out of one go. Yeah. Very, very strange. Okay, so what we got here? We got, like, Star Trek, sorry, you can see the Twilight Zone, that's the one I played before. It had this weird thing called a Powerball, where it's like, the rest of the balls were proper ball bearing, and this one was, the Powerball quote was, like a marble kind of ball. It was white. I don't know whether that was part of the aesthetics for the game or not. Also played Terminator 3 one, and that was the one where you had like a gun to shoot the ball up. The one thing that I couldn't understand on that one was there were certain occasions where it wouldn't allow you to use the flippers, and it was like, I think it was like bonus stage or something, but I just couldn't understand the whole point of that. I thought it might have been broken on a couple of occasions, but maybe it was just one of those with flicking it up in the air on the bonus round, see how much you get before it goes into the gutter. Still makes no sense though, because I think it's just the whole point of you getting that score is to do with the flippers, not being told, no, you can't do anything, because we're just going to chuck it out of the air, because if I'm going to do that, then I might as well flick it up in the air and walk away. It's just, I don't know. So, next picture. Right, okay, so we got to near the end of this section. I think it's pretty much the end of this section. The one in the middle is one I've seen before. It's quite an interesting one. It's the Wizard of Oz cap. And unlike most of the others where you've got the LCD dot matrixy type screen, this one actually has video on it. Now, I will eventually get around to playing this. It's probably going to even be more weird, because I'm going to have that kind of can't really look away from the field, even if the video show me something like, we're going to do this, that and the other, get ready. Because my brain's still doing the whole, still need to look at the field because the ball's going so fast and all that sort of thing. But that was quite a popular one, the Wizard of Oz one. But we're not quite at the end, because I seem to have picked up an Indiana Jones machine on this, where I think this one was the one with the plane, because, oh, speaking of planes, I'll have to get, yeah, there was one pinball machine that I played, which was, it was like Rescue. I think one of the earlier shots has it has like kind of sirens on the top of it. There was one thing where if you smash the ball into a certain area, or it goes into the top, it gets picked up by this helicopter that comes across. Very, very strange. There was an Indiana Jones table that had something similar with an airplane being able to fly around. I'm not sure whether it was this table or not. And we're still not at the end of the pinball section, because there's a Lord of the Rings one. But it is at the end of the room, so I think I've got my numbering mixed up at some point. But never mind. So now we're on to the arcade section. And again, this was probably a bit bigger than the pinball section. This year, instead of most of the cabinets being upright for Manchester, you did have what you can see now, which is strange ones, but sit down ones, like you've got Outrun, you've got Afterburner, you got F40 there, which I didn't get a chance to play on. What was the one that's... Oh, the one that the girl is sat on is the sit-down cab for Space Harrier, I think. 1942 there. We have Pole Position, I think that is. And you can see like a note on it. And the note basically says that the red on the screen is gone, and it's still playable, but the red on the screen's gone. You can see what we got. We got Dig Dug. Juno First, I'm not sure what that is. I think it's like a Space Invaders clone. Another another load of arcades there, including Tron. I've played in Blackpool. That's a strange one. I must have missed that, because I basically was running around doing all the photos, but I'll have to play that again at some point. Because the one thing that was weird about Tron is I'm used to games that are just the joystick, and it's because I was playing arcades very late, very very late, very early 90s. So most of the innovative stuff like that, passed by, because Tron came out in 82, was it 84? And I would have been 2 at that point. So yeah, I wouldn't have known about that sort of stuff. And by that I mean the joystick plus the turn and knob configuration, that sort of thing. I think mostly gone by my age. Although we did have Enduro Racer, where you could flip the bike up completely and stuff like that. So there were still some innovations, but nothing like the rollerball kind of games that I recall. Or they might have been around and I've just not noticed them because I was too busy playing on the other ones. On this image, you can see a lot more, including straight ahead in the centre, where there's a guy with a rucksack at the back. And what looks like a purple screen. That is Crystal Castles, and that's the one with the roller. No, not the roller, the trackball. That's one I played a couple of times. I do enjoy the trackball on most of these games because they work pretty well. And on Crystal Castles, it works very, very well on that. I managed to get quite far in that. We've also got a gauntlet cab where on the corner, and that's a 4-player gauntlet. Sorry, rephrase, gauntlet 2 cab it was. When I managed to get on it, I'm just finishing off basically because somebody left it as Merlin's, so I played around with it. And then when he died, I finally got to move myself to the Quest or the Elf, because that's one thing I will always play when there's Gauntlet, is Quest or the Elf. It's a kid thing. I had done it as a kid. I don't know why I picked him as a kid. I just did. And it stuck from there, really. So I'm playing it, and I get to about the 3rd stage in, and then a dad comes over with his kids, and he's like, "Can I play?" And I'm like, "Yeah, sure." And then there's me stood with a stranger and his kids playing on a 4-player cabinet, which is a strange new experience, but it is quite nice, because that's the way, that's what these things are built for. So, play with your friends, play strangers, but, it's, yeah. Right, so we got this one, and I'm probably going to feel a lot of smiles when I'm, those people going, wow, they actually had one, an Outrun, a hang-on machine, outrun, and a hang-on machine that you can actually have the bike on, and yes, that's the bike. I did have a go in it, and it was bloody really low down. It was almost like a junior version of a bike, because I remember the bikes were a lot bigger than that. I'm pretty sure they were, because Mum used to be able to ride on those. In fact, when I was asked her later, it was like, when I had like a hang-on game on my Mega Drive, she's like, no, I don't want to play it because it's not the bike, you can't move the bike around. So it's fair enough. But, funny story about this one. So, I finally get on it, I sit down, because around the other side there's the stand-up version with just the handlebars, but I finally get on this one. And, playing away, and I'm turning the bike, and I start to turn the bike, and this guy comes up to me and goes, beware of the invisible barriers. And I'm like, my brain's like, you what? Like, so I'm turning away because I'm like, I've played this game so many times and I know there's no invisible barriers. Turn away to look at him, questioningly, and I hear, boom, as my character gets killed, and I look back quickly, and then I hear the same voice next to me going, yeah, those ones. And then wandering off, I'm like, you fucking troll. It's like, thanks for that. Anyway, so yeah, I carried on playing it. Not easy to turn it when you're practically squatting on the bike, but still, it was still an enjoyable, fun go though. So I was happy I'd done that. We've got Daytona machines, and I had a go on Daytona. I think I played on the sit-down one, which might be coming up soon, or I might have missed. No, I've not missed it. It might be coming up soon. I usually jump on the auto gears, and I thought maybe I'm losing because I'm on the auto gears, and I tried it with manual, and I still was being shit. So I don't know. I could never do Daytona properly anyway. This is the other side now, so we've got Donkey Kong. Tried having a go at that. I'm still kind of okay, but when I concentrate, I usually do a bit better. Yeah, I don't know. They also had Black Tiger on this. Yeah, because I know Mensky did Black Tiger, and I quite enjoyed it, but it's a bit tough, to be honest. Operation Wolf, everybody likes that kind of game, so that got played. And then there's that, next to it there's a pinball one, and it's another trackball, but this one, it said, I remember when I played it, because I thought, you know, I wanted to have a game, and it looked interesting. And I'm playing it, and it's like, pull back to roll the ball. So I'm like, right, I'm assuming that means pull back as in roll it back. And it did nothing. I spent ages trying to get it to do it. And then when I'm going past other people, after I've given up, finally, I'm like, these other people and kids are managing to roll the ball back. So I'm like, I don't even know what I'm doing wrong. Weird. Okay, so we got the Turtles cap here, 4-player. Didn't get much chance to go on that. That was quite popular. The one thing I do remember about these 4-player cabs though, I'm pretty sure they were a lot bigger than the ones that were displayed here. Maybe it's just like a kid thing, you know, like when you were a kid you think that Whoppers are a lot bigger than they were, and then when you're a lot older the Whoppers end up being the size of like tablets or something. You pick up a pair of tweezers, you know. These 4-player cabs felt a lot smaller than they used to do. But, I mean, they're still enjoyable. The only other thing that I remember about playing on the Quest or Ralph one from the Gauntlet game earlier was it can be, because you're stuck to like 90 degrees to the side, you're automatically moving the joystick left as you think you're going up, and right as you think you're going, you know, because your brain switch it and then you realise, no, it's gotta be, you gotta move it right to go up because you stood kind of like an odd angle. But yeah, and then there's Bomb Jack next to it, that's always a good one for a laugh. And what else did I play on this side? Oh, I also played Road Blasters. That was the basically just go down the road shooting everything, picking up balls of green, which were your fuel. And that was okay for a few minutes. Now we've got a picture of what looks like a Ghostbuster with Newsy. And no one's going to be scared of any ghost if you've got Newsy in your hand. So yeah, he's playing Operation Thunderbolt. Didn't get a chance to play that. There's Silent Scope that I actually wanted to play but never got around to playing that one either. We got Crossbow in the far right there. That was a very hard game to play because it is pretty much look down the gun sight to be able to see anything really. Unlike most of these games, like Silent Scope, definitely you can do, or with like the usual light gun games, it's usually you can usually pick them off without having to look down the iron sights, but with Crossbow you definitely had to. And it's much more difficult because unlike light gun games like Operation Thunderbolt and Silent Scope, where Silent Scope is a bit more easy to get things, but with things like Operation Thunderbolt, you had a lot more bigger sprites to shoot at, and with Crossbow, for example, in one section you got to basically rescue your friends who are just walking along, and these boulders are dropping down from the sky, and the boulders are not that wide. They're about probably, I'm going to say roughly 50 pixels, 25 pixels across, by the same again down, and it's not easy to fire at them. Then you've got a bit further down there with the Star Wars Trilogy arcade game that was very, very popular even at the end of the day. A Daytona USA cab that I played on. There were a couple of racing games as well. See if actually it's on the next picture. Yeah, one on the left, which was is that? Oh, I can't remember what it's called. Is it Rad Racing? And it's the one where Steve Benway's already done one on this, or something. I'm pretty sure it is this one, because it's the one with Sonic the Hedgehog as a, what do you call it? You know, the dice that you get at the top of the car. I can't remember what the official name is. But that's swinging at the top as you're driving along, and that's fairly difficult-ish. Power Drift, played on that. Still pretty enjoyable. In fact, those two games are fairly similar in terms of, it seems to be, how could I put it, kind of graphically they're fairly similar. I mean, I'm not saying that, I know Power Drift is like 80s and the one on the right's like, left is like late 90s, so graphically it's different, but it's the way that the tracking's done, like when you turn and the way that it's hard to explain. Like with Power Drift, when you turn, you can actually see, like, it looks like sausages of track laid together. You'll see what I mean when you look at it, and it's kind of similar on. Right, it must have been that one that I played that was fairly similar. The way you turned it kind of looked almost like it. Maybe it wasn't that one, but there were just two fairly similar games like that. What else did I play? I think I was just, yeah. But I also played Paperboy round the other end. That was on just handlebar. That was a little more easy to play around with. Just trying to think what else I played on this section. I played a few other games. I can't remember what else I played. A couple more racing games, and I just can't remember now. Sorry. Right, so the next bit is this really small, titchy arcade section, and they're always great to see. On the left-hand side, you had not Super Star Wars, the classic Star Wars game, the Vector one, with the very small handlebar style. Which reminds me, I did actually play Return of the Jedi, the raster version, or the sprite version, and that did have the X-Wing flag stick. But that wasn't a small mini one, that was a big one. I remember playing that one. I still suck at that, to be honest. Then we got the retro game section, and this was, again, massively huge. A lot bigger than last year. We just had a range of different sets of games. So you had things like, you can probably just about see the Atari 5200 there. You've got Mega Drive. You've got the, on the left anyway, you've got the what's it called, Neo Geo. So the 5200's right in the centre. And just on left of that's going to be a Mega Drive. Can't see anything else in that picture. And this one you've got PlayStation, you've got GameCube, a couple of GameCubes there. And then you've got Sega Saturns with the actual steering wheels. I really wanted to play on the steering wheels because I've got a Saturn myself. I wouldn't mind trying it out. And they were playing, at least one of them was playing Daytona USA on it. And then you get into some of the older computers. So you've got Amigas, got CPC there you can see. You've got the Vectrex. Keep meaning to play on those. I think I actually did. And Blackpool, I'm not too sure. And I think the one on the far left there that looks like a video player looks like a possible CDI type thing. Not 100% sure. Though although saying that, and I don't think I got a picture of this, there is an Amiga that they had there, a Commodore one, that also looked like a VCR style. Or was it might have been CD-TV actually, because the controller looked like a remote, but it was kind of rectangular and side-on, not, you know, like how most remotes are held rectangular but vertical in your hand, but this was more kind of horizontal based. Pretty sure that might have been the CD-TV. We get to the older section a bit more, so we got like BBC computers here, and then we get to this section, which you can see is the if you remember from the early 90s, you had that as that VR. Yeah, I've been wanting to play that, but I never got around to playing that either. But I remember when I first saw this on TV, was when I saw Violet Berlin from Bad Influence actually being in one of these. And this was, what's that, around 91 I think? And there they are. It's still playable for them even now, so that's what, say 20 years later. I'm gutted I never actually got to play that. So we got a bit more game consoles, another GameCube, well a couple more actually. And then we get to the themed section, which was near the entrance, where you had like a range of old and new stuff depending on the theme. So you've got here the James Bond one, with it, I think the one on the far left is it's the Mega Drive. What's the Mega Drive game? James Bond: A Duel. That's that one. I'm pretty sure one of them is going to be the Xbox game that came out. Was it GoldenEye 007? Which, I've got to be honest, if you're going to do a remake of a game that starred an earlier Bond, please keep the earlier Bond. It makes no sense bringing out a new Bond for an old version. Just, it's like GoldenEye was the era for Pierce Brosnan, so please keep Pierce Brosnan. I'm pretty sure you'd be happy to voice the person again. I know you're trying to do the whole kind of, oh look, we've got Daniel Craig now, but it's like, it just doesn't make sense. We've got next to that one, we've got the WrestleMania ones. I didn't get a chance to look at those. And we've got the Alien one here. And you can tell the artwork is from the Alien vs Predator game. But the only stuff you got from here was the Atari Jaguar version of Alien vs Predator on the left. You got the PlayStation really shitty first person shooter, which was Alien Trilogy. And you've got the Xbox strategy game, which was Alien vs Predator Evolution. Is it Evolution? Somewhat like Evolution. But I didn't find that game pretty bad actually. I thought it was pretty good. I've got it for 360 downstairs. But I'd say that's well worth a try. Because even on a controller, it's not that hard to figure out. We've got the superhero section here. I can't remember half these games, sorry. But I know at the end of this table they also added on the Spider-Man pinball machine as well. We've got the Robocop section. We all know Robocop doesn't have that many console games. We've got the really, really awful Robocop 3 game from the Mega Drive. And I do remember it because me and my dad got it as a rental. And boy was it fucking awful. And it's still fucking awful now. And next to that was a lot better game. That was RoboCop vs Terminator. A much, much better game. Next to this, you can probably already tell, but that's Terminator. So we'll have Terminator. It was Terminator 2 on the Mega Drive. We've got a SNES game. I'm not too sure what that is. Rise of the Machines, I believe, is going to be on the Xbox. And the 360, the only thing I can think of, because it was Terminator Salvation game, because I remember seeing the kid play, and he was using John O'Connor from Christian Bale's John O'Connor. We get a Turtle section here. I'm sure that was Tournament Fighters on the far left. Can't remember what the others. Well, there's a NES there, so that'll be the NES version. In fact, there's two there. So there's going to be different ones. I'm not sure what's in the middle. To the left of that, I think it was the Lego Harry Potter. And then we got the Star Wars ones, which was pretty much a section in itself. Including the Super Star Wars games that nobody's probably completed. Actually, saying that, I bet about 5 people scream, I've already completed it, but it is a pretty tough game, but still fairly enjoyable. I mean, I think that's the thing about games like Super Star Wars. Even though they're a tough son of a bitch to beat, they are fairly well polished. Well, not fairly, but very well polished, and I think people do appreciate that sort of thing, and it makes them want to play it again and again and again, even though it's like busting your balls to actually complete the game. Another game that's fairly similar in that regard is Abe's Odyssey series. Very hard, but very polished as well, so people will come back to it, and they will remember it fondly for that. And I'm probably not... I think a lot of people would agree with me on that. So behind this that I didn't get a shot of was Tomb Raider. And when I walked past it, I was like, it's too late now. My battery's pretty much gone. My phone, I'm not going to be able to get any more pictures, so I'm sorry I didn't get that picture. Next section, we've got the PC end. Now, we've got two sections on this. The first section that I'm going to go through now was a small table full of pretty much single-player games, with the exception of one side, which I'll get to in a minute. You've got, on the left, you can pretty much see clearly is in it, I'm pretty sure it is SimCity 3000. We've got Grim Fandango playing. That's Klingon on a Guard on the right, which I played a bit of, but I kind of was a bit shit on it. And I do want to play it properly at some point, but I've never been able to get it running properly on my machine. On the left is, and I'm pretty sure it's Rebel Assault. They've got Indiana Jones and the Fate of Atlantis on the left, and Tomb Raider on the right, and that's Tomb Raider 2, I believe, because that looks like the beginning scene from that. We've got Indiana Jones on, and the Inference Machine, yeah, I think it is that on the left, and on the right, although you can't see it properly, that is Theme Park. We've got GTA 2 on this one, and the guy on the left was playing, I was going to say Elite Force, but it isn't. It's the one where you sat down as a bridge commander and Picard's on the left. Is it Star Trek Bridge Commander? It was something like that. That's another game I'm going to have to get around to playing. We've got, as you can see, we've got two people playing Doom here, and I think that was the only one that was networkable on this side. There was two of the same. We've got Blue Shift on this as well. This is, and it took me a while to remember what this was when I was first going through these photos, but the one on the left, as I remember now, is actually Shadow Warrior, and I'm half certain the one on the right is Jedi Knight 2. I'm not 100% sure on that one. We've got Gandalf the White playing Quake, you know, as you do. And I'm pretty sure I overheard him at some point screaming, "You shall not pass," to Shoggoth creatures. The one next to him, I'm not too sure, but I'm going to guess it possibly being Blake Stone, but I'm probably going to get told it's not. Yeah, I'm just guessing at this point. The third one in, the green one, well, we've seen this before. This is the PC version of Alien Trilogy, because I'm pretty sure that's right. Then we've got Heretic as the next machine. That's Dark Forces on the left, and Hexen being played. That's the Wolfenstein 2 thingy. I think what was it? Rise of the Triad. That's it on the left, and funny enough, that's Strife on the right. For those that don't know what Strife is one of those conversion games that actually used the Doom engine fairly well. Actually, I think it was quite heavily modified, and it was a role-playing style one with voice acting in. And I think that's the most interesting thing, is the fact that it is a role-playing Doom game. The only other game that I know that did something similar, in fact, you know, a fairly heavily modified game that was kind of similar, but not voice acted, that came out about the same time as Doom did, was Shadowcaster. That's an interesting game, considering I'm pretty sure it was the Doom engine that was doing that. Because I know when you look at the credits, it is pretty much quoted as Carmack being doing it, but or Carmack was quoted for the engine anyway. But I'm sure someone's going to correct me on that. So from there was Terminator Future Shock on the left, and Witch Haven on the right. Played both of those. And problem with Future Shock was it had the mouse inverted, and it was on the driving sections, and it bugs me when that happens. It's just like, I can't really control it properly. The only time I can ever control things that are inverted is flight sims, because I seem to be able to get that in my head. But anything else, not a chance. Witch Haven I think was set at a higher difficulty level, because this was in the beginning of the game, and I'm pretty sure with a normal or easy level, you basically go around the corner and you're seeing two different coloured goblins fighting each other. And I'm pretty sure that out of those you can pick up short swords pretty much straight off the bat. But I went through a couple of those and a couple of enemies around the corner and found no bloody short swords before I got killed, so I don't know. Then we've also got Alien vs Predator, the original one done on the PC from '98 by Rebellion on the left, and Jedi Knight, that's Forces 2 on the right there. Did I say left? Left AVP, right Jedi Knight. You can probably just about see just behind that monitor another point and click game, and that was Simon the Sorcerer. But the one thing about Simon the Sorcerer is I've never managed to get my head into actually playing it. I don't know what it is. It's just I just can't. Every time I try and play it, I just can't get into it. I don't know. Maybe it's the art style or something. It just doesn't sit well with me. Then we got the next section of PC stuff, which was just rows, and I mean rows of, well, okay, so there was 1, 2, 3, about 4 or 5 rows of death matching from all ages, all years. This one I decided to show first is Unreal Tournament. I did have a game at that. Sat down, finished off whoever was doing the match, and then the thing, you know, because you've already got like part of someone's score. And next 2 matches I did pretty well actually. I got 3rd, and it's got 2nd in the next 2. Not in that order, I think it was 2nd, 1st, and then 3rd, or something like that. But the guy that was 1st on one of the games was doubled my score. I think I got 15 frags, and he was on 30 by this point. And then you've got Jedi Knight. Is that? That's got to be Outcast. I'm pretty sure that's Outcast. That's on the LAN network. We've got Quake 2 on the network, and that's, I did have a go on that. That was quite interesting, quite fun. Not sure what this one is. And then you've got Source, so that'll be Counter-Strike. And this next section is just showing you how big the now play section was, and I kind of avoided that a lot, mainly because I'm not a big modern game player. I mean, I'll play some games, but nothing. I was here for the retro stuff, not really for the big now play thing. So I kind of avoid that pretty much. You also had near here the indie section, and I will for next time, get round to actually taking shots of that. Jeff Minter was there as usual. You had other games there. You even have, as you can see, those big TVs. They're playing Minecraft on that. So, yeah. And now we're on to pretty much near the end now, where I'll show you pickups. Pickups I got was Slave Zero for the Dreamcast. That cost me £5. I finally got Resident Evil, the remake, on the DS for 15 quid. I also picked up this Alien t-shirt for £15. It was one of the sellers. It was round near the Now Play area that had this big, really tall kind of area selling different bits and bats, including lots of t-shirts. I spotted the Alien t-shirt and was like, that mine, go get the hat. So pretty much that's now in my collection. Nice t-shirt though. And the last one is Revenge of Shinobi t-shirt that I picked up from one of the traders. I almost got the Altered Beast one, because that's fairly works well. It actually looked really well on a t-shirt. But I saw the Revenge of Shinobi and was like, nah, I gotta get that instead. So there you go. So that's my report for Play Expo Manchester 2014. Hope you enjoyed my incessant rambling. But yeah, that's that, and I will see you for the next video. Bye.